Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Valentine edition of Weekend Central. This bulletin is coming to you live from the news hub here at the Sawikanda. We are live on Facebook as TV3 Ghana and on DSTV as channel 279. My name is George Queenie. The headlines this afternoon. At least 3 persons feared dead and vehicles burned in a fuel tanker explosion at Nsawam. We are live at the scene shortly. Interpol deletes the name of embattled former finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta from its red notice list. We also have some Valentine Day special stories for you in this very package. And now let's set it for the details of these stories. And just so you know, you can get interactive with us. We're live on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Let's begin from this rather sad development. 3 persons are feared dead following a fuel tanker explosion at Ntwaso on the Accra-Nsawam Highway in the eastern region. Several others who sustained life-threatening injuries have been rushed to the Nsawam Government Hospital for treatment.
On Saturday, when a fourth tanker heading Kumasi reportedly capsized along the shoulder of the busy highway, motorcycle riders and some residents are said to have rushed to the scene in an attempt to siphon fuel from the overturned tanker. The situation, however, escalated when the tanker suddenly caught fire, triggering an explosion that burned 3 motorcycle operators beyond recognition. About 5 vehicles caught in traffic, along with 5 motorcycles believed to belong to the victims, were also destroyed in the blaze. Passengers and bystanders fled the scene to save their lives as flames engulfed the area. Personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service, the Police Service, and the National Ambulance Service responded swiftly to the emergency. 8 persons who suffered life-threatening injuries were rescued and transported to the Nsawam Government Hospital, where they are currently receiving treatment. Police are still at the scene, managing the traffic situation, while fire service personnel douse the fire. The Eastern South Police Commander, DCOP George Bossman Ohiniboedi, and the Fire Service PRO for Suhum, ADO1 Akono Opare Ohini Daniel, cautioned the public to stay off fuel tankers that capsize on the road.
We're coming to Safo fuel. The accident when a car fell. Unfortunately, this car is carrying petrol. That is not diesel, but actual petrol. So it got flame, and those people were burnt. So those are the people who got burnt. But the other lady involved was directly behind the tanker, which got flamed. The fire moved to the back and got the lady burnt. So we are taking all the 3 cops. So we have brought in recovery trucks to cool them so that we can have free within that stretch of road.
Ebiana, same incident, AC was up by his airport. I'm not seeing any member who
This is the second time such an incident is occurring on the highway, while warned residents to stay off such vehicles when such accidents occur. Unfortunately, we are recording casualties and loss of properties today.
Well, this is the situation. Let's engage the fire service. Let's go into the telephone lines and engage the PRO of the SUM division of the fire service. That's ADO1 Akono Opare Ohini Daniel. Daniel, thanks for your time. How bad is this very situation? We are trying the lines to connect with Daniel, who is with the Ghana National Fire Service, to bring us updates on this very explosion that happened somewhere in Nsawam. And you can get interactive with us, like I mentioned. We are live on Facebook. It's TV3 Ghana. And 3 persons are feared dead following a fuel tanker explosion at Ntwaso along the Nsawam Highway. And let's reconnect with Daniel Ohini Opare, who is ADO1, and he's the soon PRO of the fire service. Daniel, good afternoon. Thanks for your time. And how bad is this very situation?
Good afternoon, and a very good afternoon to your viewers and your listeners. Actually, we had a distress call this morning, reported an incident in Saum Stretch, Kumasi Accra Highway Stretch. We dispatched our men from Suhun Fire Station to the scene to see how things are going. As we got to the scene, we saw that fire has involved a fuel tanker and it is well alive. So we called for Form 2 from Bosu Fire Station to assist us in extinguishing of the fire. As we speak now, fire was involved in a fuel tanker, a VIP bus, and 4 saloon cars, and other 4 motorcycles which were involved with the fire. We were able to rescue 7 casualties. We were able to rescue 7 casualties who were seriously injured, and they have been taken to the Interpol government hospital for treatment. And 3 reported casualties, 2 were also found at the scene. 1 was trapped in a saloon car, and 2 other people were also outside the incident.
Daniel, apart from the 3 that are confirmed dead, what are those who have also the casualties who have some life-threatening injuries? How many are they?
As we speak now, we've been able to record 7 casualties, and they have been sent to the Interpol government hospital for treatment. 3 females and 4 other males involved in the incident.
So in moving forward, how can you deal with these sort of explosions? I know sometimes people want to go to siphon fuel when there's some sort of an eventuality of this nature.
Yes, sir. We've always been advising the general public on such incidents. Not long ago, last month, we had the same incident in the same stretch, that same area. We came to the scene, and the area folks were not giving us the time and the chance for us to fight the fire. But today's own was extraordinary to the extent that it got involved with explosion that brought out the fire, which was caused by some of the area folks. They were siphoning a lot of fuel, and through that, it created sparks and it ignited the fuel tanker, which caused the fire thing.
Okay. Thank you so much, Daniel. ADO01 Daniel Ohene Opare is with the soon PRO of the Ghana National Fire Service, bringing us updates on this very gas explosion that happened somewhere in Sawam. And away from that, repeat offenders of fire safety regulations in Secondary Takrady risk prosecution this year. According to the Secondary Takrady Metropolitan Fire Officer, Divisional Officer Grade 3, DO3 Michael Tete. Speaking at a transition ceremony at Secondary, he disclosed that the metropolis recorded a 17% increase in fire cases in 2025 over 2024, along with 12 non-fire incidents, resulting in 4 injuries and 3 deaths. He added that domestic fires accounted for the majority of all incidents. Rama Smith has more.
In spite of sustained extensive public education on fire hazards and the crucial role individuals play in the prevention to support the efforts of the fire service, the Secondary Takrady Metropolis recorded 81 fire cases in 2025, a 17% increase over that of 2024, along with 12 non-fire incidents. These incidents resulted in 4 injuries and 3 deaths, with domestic fires accounted for majority of the cases, according to the Metropolitan Fire Officer DO3 Michael Tete. He stated that the service has observed the misuse of mini gas cylinders and cautioned the public on their usage.
In fact, we are seeing a growing phenomenon of these twin gas burners, which has the gas cylinder and the stove sitting on top. These burners are becoming a menace to our society, so much so that we need to be so critically careful about the way we are using them.
DO3 Tete stated that the service is stepping up its efforts against fire safety offenders this year through sustained educational campaigns and the prosecution of repeat violators of fire safety regulations.
This year, we are hoping to up our game with some aggressive enforcement regime on offenders of fire safety regulations. We wish to heighten educational campaigns and possibly the prosecution of consistent violators of our fire safety regulations.
At the transition ceremony for DO3 Augustina Gozo and DO3 David Tete, who are retiring from active service after over 3 decades with the fire service, he appealed to government to improve their conditions of service and also called for the retooling of the service, noting that most of their equipment are obsolete.
We lack a whole lot of equipment. The government is aware. Although they have promised to get a certain number of equipment, I hope there will be more. But we are now in modern trends, not the old time style of firefighting. This time, modern trends of firefighting, which of course demands modern equipment. I would appreciate if the government would take serious look on our equipment, be it road traffic collision equipment or firefighting equipment, rescue equipment. But it is not all about firefighting alone. The other rescues that we perform where we don't use the fire tender per se. You understand me? Yes. So when those things are, we get all those things, it will help or enhance our work.
Erama Smith, TV3 News, Second Day.
Away from fire-related matters, lawyers for Ken Ofori-Atta say Interpol has permanently expunged the red notice issued against him. In a statement dated February 13, 2026, his counsel said the Commission for the Control of Flies confirmed the deletion. However, the OSP in a statement confirmed the deletion but clarified that the detention of Ken Ofori-Atta's name from the Interpol red notice was merely procedural following his arrest and detention. Now let's look at the details of each of the statements released. And this actually is from the camp of Ken Ofori-Atta, former finance minister. We are pleased to announce that today, February 13, 2026, the Commission for the Control of Interpol's Files, CCF, has notified Kenneth Ofori-Atta that on February 4, 2026, during its 135th session, it determined that the red notice issued against Mr. Ofori-Atta appears of a predominantly political character and is non-compliant with Interpol's rules and shall be deleted from Interpol's files permanently. Specifically, CCF stated that after a thorough examination of the elements before it, the Commission found that the challenged data registered by the Interpol National Central Bureau, NCB of Ghana, were not compliant with Interpol's rules and decided that they should be deleted from the Interpol information system. And that was actually signed by Justice Kusi Minka Premo Esquire, counsel for Ken Ofori-Atta. And this is from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and the Commission directed the deletion of the notice under Interpol's rules on political neutrality and notice processing, citing contextual factors at the time of issuance, including polarized political statements from members of current and former administrations about the conduct of the investigation, as well as public controversy surrounding prosecutorial and extradition processes, including public acknowledgement by senior officials of the Ministry of Justice of an inability at the time to pursue extradition due to the early procedural stage of the case. It further observed that subsequent developments made the notice unnecessary. As Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta's location was known, cooperation with the U.S. authorities was ongoing and extradition processes had already been initiated following his arrest in the United States on 6th January 2026, signed by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Kessie Jabin. Well, still on this very development, we've been engaging lawyers on what this development potentially means for the pending legal processes against Ken Ofori-Atta. We spoke to lawyer Martin Kpebu and Kofi Bento earlier. Take a listen.
Actually, nothing. Nothing, because the Interpol red notice is basically putting an international wanted notice on you. And some people have said that it's been lifted because Ken is in custody. All right? That is partially true. Okay? But Interpol are saying that they lifted it because it was procured wrongly. Okay, so that is one leg of it. In their own, report, they are saying that they are not happy about the way this went, so they've lifted it. But the other reason too is because Ken is in custody. So yes, it has been lifted. In any case, those who are saying it's been lifted because Ken is in custody, it doesn't stand to reason, because if they say now we know where Ken is, and where he can be reached. We knew that before the Interpol red notice. Ken told them where he was. Everybody knew it. He told them how he could be reached. His lawyers were here. He offered to speak to them. So Ken was not a fugitive from justice, as in we didn't know where he was. All right, that is why the Interpol people are saying that this is wrong. So if you ask, what does it do to the current processes? It does nothing. Nothing, because Ken is not going to come simply because that has been lifted. What is going to make Ken come here is for a change in the environment, to convince him that he will not be treated shabbily. Ken is not above the law, but he's also not beneath the law. So he's entitled to everything that he's entitled to.
Interpol's decision to take Ken Ofori-Atta off their red notice alert doesn't really change much, okay, in the case Ken Ofori-Atta has, although it hugely embarrasses Ghana as a nation. But it doesn't change much. When I say it doesn't change much, what I mean is that currently, as we speak, there are two cases against Ken Ofori-Atta. The ICE case is facing in the US, which can lead to his deportation. And then number two, the extradition proceedings. So you see that the American, we've applied to the US to extradite Ken Ofori-Atta to Ghana. So when it succeeds, the American government can arrest him. He's in the US. So the American government doesn't need the Interpol red notice alert in order to arrest Ken Ofori-Atta. No. The most important thing is that once the proceedings get to a stage, that's the extradition proceedings, where they agree that there is merit in what we've applied to them, the American government will go in and arrest him. So it's not like we've lost. Yes. So they putting him on the list at the time just sought to blacklist him, but it didn't substantially affect Ken aside. Yeah, it blacklisted him a bit in terms of his business dealings. Remember, he was put on the red notice in June 2025. I think, yeah, ending of June 2025. Yeah, so it only made some businesses more difficult. That's more business difficult, but it didn't change much. So now, the key point is either the ICE case would lead to his deportation to Ghana, or the extradition case we are doing will lead to his arrest, because in order for the extradition case to continue, the first thing, once the US government agrees that there is merit, etc., they will first arrest him in order to let the court case go on.
We are your election command center. And now, Director of Communications of the opposition MPP, Richard Ahiagba, has lashed out at the NDC for pretending and affirming the results of the recently held Ayawaso East NDC primary, which was characterized by vote buying. Appearing on key points earlier, Richard Ahiagba said the persistent bribery of delegates will weaken Ghana's democracy and give up power to the highest bidder. Take a listen.
On the matter, and in doing so, have lost the opportunity for all of us to engage this matter expressly. All across, along the table here, people will agree with you. I think that it dilutes our democracy, the impact of these, money and gift giving to influence people. And the law was express. It says that anybody who does that commits an act of bribery. And so if that is a crime, then we should find a way to fight it. I want lawyers to tell us why we cannot find standing in court with that action consistent with 284. So I think that the NDC really has, they have to bow their heads in shame. I know this is just wrong. They themselves, a committee they put together, has found something to be untoward. But somehow the party is arguing that, because of the shortness of time to file with EC, and so therefore we're going to go ahead. We in Ayawaso East, we had an acclamation, we selected a candidate, we didn't do a primaries. So if they wanted, they can actually annul that election. In fact, there are members in parliament that have given them a pathway to doing that, annul it, and then you can do an acclamation. Even that day, you find a candidate, to come up. Because in the interest of advancing democracy, this is something that we need to deal with expressly in the MPP, in the NDC. So it's not really a question of NDC problem per se. It's a problem that confronts our democracy, and the opportunity was presented. The country saw it, and so therefore there was no way to hide it. And that moment, we need to rise to the occasion to deal with this matter expressly. And I think the NDC lost the opportunity. And that will be a blot on their history. And I think I agree with Matic Pebu to say that if our brother Baba Jamal, a good friend and a very distinguished individual, but yet his opportunity to go to Parliament has become a serious bone of contention. Nobody likes that. What happened? We don't like it because it weakens our democracy. It takes away the sanctity of the vote to the highest bidder. How can we have a democracy like that?
On his part, former MP for Santia Akem North, Andy Apia Kubi, lamented that most MPs who embark on campaign activities are unlikely to recover their lost investment due to the huge financial burden that comes with active campaign.
The problems of Cocoa Board is historic. So I don't agree with you that it started from 8 years ago. No.
Well,
there was a component called stabilization fund of all the calculations. And that was supposed to ensure that there is continuity and also
Well, if you just tuned in, you're watching the Valentine edition of Weekend Central. And let's know what you make of stories that have aired so far. We're active on Facebook, TV3, and engage us, hopefully. We read them and share them to the rest of the world. And now the national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, has recalled years of intense political battles and challenges in the Ejumako Ignan Esiam constituency of the Central Region. Making a stop in the constituency as part of his thank you tour, he explained that the constituency is both a political battleground and a personal stronghold. According to him, there were long-standing alliances, courtroom disputes until they managed to get Dr. Kesilato Forson, the current MP, to contest for the seat.
If we say constituency, many almost started the Kitao Ache. Many Dr. Enos.
My interaction with this constituency go a long way. From the time I came into contact with Dr. Enoch,
about you be bedru so and also be a dear friend Edumase over Chinchim Dr. Enos and you see it
there came an election where an MPP MP took the seat for 4 years. We went to court, back and forth, and at the end, we lost the seat. The MPP MP continuously defeated the NDC and hampered on the development of the Ejumako constituency.
And so, Ejumako constituency. When I'm a general secretary, and I'm a co-chair practice.
Then I got to meet Dr. Kesilato Forson. Then I got to meet Dr. Kesilato Forson in the UK. And after conversation, he expressed interest in politics. Ultimately, he won the seat back for the NDC.
Well, away from the camp of the NDC, former Vice President and 2028 flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has called on all party members to forgive one another as the party strategizes ahead of the 2028 elections. Dr. Bawumia was speaking at a Thanksgiving ceremony at the National Mosque on Friday.
The 2028 presidential candidates of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, together with the party's leadership, arrived at the National Mosque to offer prayers following the party's presidential election that led to his nomination as the party's flag bearer. In his speech, Dr. Bawumia expressed heartfelt gratitude to his campaign team, parliamentary supporters, and party executives following his strong showing in the new Patriotic Party presidential primaries held on Saturday, 31st January 2026. Dr. Bawumia called on all party members to forgive one another for the sake of party unity.
NPP showed that our party votes on the basis of competence, capability, vision, character, humility, integrity, and tolerance, and not on the basis of tribe or religion. And that is why on this day, as we celebrate and give thanks together, I want to ask us all from the bottom of my heart to forgive each other.
Dr. Bawumia was accompanied by several high-profile personalities in the party, including former Majority Leader Osechi Mensah Bonsu, 2024 running mate Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, and the NPP General Secretary Justin Frimpong Kondua, among others.
We pull the brakes and go for our very first commercial break. We're back with more news. Stay with us. ongoing African Union Summit in Ethiopia.
Just before I left, we have a crisis in our cocoa sector. We set a producer price for the farmer. At the time we set the price of cocoa on the international market was 7,200. We have a policy in Ghana where we give the farmer 70% of the world market price. The other 30% is used for administration, to supply fertilizers to the farmers, to provide scholarships for their children and all that kind of thing. The CD's value was 11.5 CDs to $1. After we set the producer price, the world market price has declined to 4,200. The CD has appreciated in value to 10.7 to the dollar. And so suddenly it means that for every ton you buy at the producer price, you have a gap. And so we'll be losing. And so we held a crisis meeting and we took decisions. And one of the major problems is that to buy cocoa from our own farmers, we rely on funding from outside. And you know what the collateral for the funding is, our own cocoa beans. And so you have to collateralize the beans to the financier, buy the beans and just ship them, and they pay you the international market price. So one of the key decisions we've taken is that we're going to stop foreign funding for the purchase of our cocoa. We are going to raise domestic bonds. We have enough CDs in Ghana to pay for our cocoa. We're going to raise domestic bonds, buy our own cocoa. We don't need to collateralize the beans. I know the interesting part. We have the capacity to process 400,000 tons of those beans, processing capacity in Ghana. But because the beans are collateralized, we cannot even allocate those beans to the local processors. We have to ship all the beans outside. Now, if we buy the beans ourselves, we can take 400,000 tons out of the beans and give to our local processors to add value. That is what the Accra research is about.
Let's listen on the cocoa sector crisis, and former MP for Asante Akim North, Apia Kubi, says cocoa sector crisis is historical. He spoke on key points earlier today.
The problems of cocoa board is historic. So I don't agree with you that it started from 8 years ago. No.
Well,
there was a component called stabilization fund of all the calculations. And that was supposed to ensure that there is continuity and also value stability along the chain. From Nkrumah's time up to now, we were supposed to have built enough funding to be able to cushion up all these, to avoid syndication and all that. So for me, the moment we started looking for funding to support the cocoa sector, I knew that the policy had failed, because from inception, and cocoa board is almost 80 years now, and 80 years of running an industry, we haven't been able to even build enough resources to be able to cushion the industry for even one season. By now, we should have a buffer of resources that could even cushion us for 10 seasons from 80 years. And it is not all about mismanagement. It's also about government influence.
Meanwhile, Director of Presidential Duties on Agriculture and Agribusiness, Dr. Peter Kutukono, is daring the NPP to show Ghanaians measures they took to enhance the operational efficiency of Cocoa Board over the past 8 years. Speaking on key point, he accused the past Akufo-Addo-led administration of plundering Cocoa Board into huge debt and needless procurement infractions.
Actually, the problem of Cocoa Board was President Akufo-Addo becoming president and putting the kind of management.
How is that possible?
Yes, and I'm going to be very blunt on it because you see, it's not the institution and the framework that has been created to manage cocoa. It's the individuals we put in charge of cocoa the past 8 years. They have caused the mess, and we need to be very frank about it. The problem that we have experienced is the mismanagement, the individuals, the human resource, the adverse selection that we have done in selecting the human resource, and the kind of thinking that goes into policy is what has brought us here. So President Mahama says that let's reset the economy. And so you need that reset, that rethinking. to put things right so that these institutions can be efficient. And I dare say, these institutions have been efficient before. Until the last 8 years, Cocoa Board was efficient. Look, Cocoa Board posted profits in 2016. Go and check the balance sheets of Cocoa Board and see how Cocoa Board was doing in 2016. In 2016, the total equity of Cocoa Board was 1.79 billion Ghana cedis. In 2024, they posted total equity in deficit of about 3.8 billion cedis. And you are telling me that there's no difference? There's a big difference.
Okay.
You have the case whereby you have a current liabilities of about 20.2 billion in 2024, when in 2016 we're posting 1.6 billion. And you are telling me that there's no difference. If we put the right measures in place, we can be efficient. And so this is the reforms that President Mahama is bringing.
I'm sure my outfit gives me away at Valentine's Day, and so we're bringing some stories. As we celebrate Valentine's Day, Ghana's markets are turning red and white as flower vendors prepare for one of their busiest seasons. While 14th February is widely celebrated as National Chocolate Day, flowers remain one of the most powerful symbols of affection. But behind every bouquet is a story of hard work and love. And you know,
across the country, flower shops are buzzing with activity as more Ghanaians embrace the culture of expressing love with roses, tulips, and beautifully crafted bouquets. Traditionally, gifts given on Valentine's Day lean toward clothes, chocolates, and surprise getaways. Flowers were often seen as expensive, foreign, or reserved for weddings and solemn occasions. Today, however, social media, global trends, and a growing middle class are shaping how love is expressed. Florists say demand has doubled, sometimes tripled, during the Valentine's season.
But Valentine's is a day where it's a hallmark moment, so it's a day where we as humans want to be able to celebrate love and show that through flowers. And the rose has been a significant flower in that journey in terms of symbolism of love.
Data shows that in 2023, Ghana imported about 137 tons of fresh flowers valued at approximately $252,000. Kenya remained Ghana's largest flower supplier, accounting for over $161,000 worth of flowers, followed by Netherlands at about $42,000.
Flowers are generally very expensive because these ones are imported, okay? And when they're coming in, they have to come in by air. So the cost of freight, and also the next part that makes it very expensive is even how we keep them. So for you to keep your flowers very fresh, you need a cold room. And the cold room has to be on. So this is our cold room. The cold room has to be on the entire time, like every single minute it has to be on.
For Tamara, running a flower business goes beyond arranging petals.
Obviously, like any investment or any business in Ghana, it is an investment, but it's something that is very fulfilling, and the fact that people are loving the product that much more just makes it more worth the investment.
Beyond romance, the growing floral culture is creating business opportunities and has become a booming seasonal economy, especially in the capital, Accra.
They feel happy about the packaging because of maybe they have a gift from the Valentine.
Some of them feel happy, some of them also look surprised.
For many, flowers are no longer just decorative pieces, they have become a love language.
So people say like lots, and right now during Valentine's Day, so customers, they are ordering, they want new things, new design, new bouquet.
What was once considered a foreign tradition is now taking root locally, with young people in particular choosing blooms as their preferred way to say, I love you.
Flowers also communicate a certain level of adoration and affection. If you look at sometimes when people are receiving a very important guest at the airport, they meet them with a bouquet of flowers. It's a signal of deep affection and admiration for the person you're dealing with.
As we celebrate Valentine's Day, florists are working around the clock and buyers are racing to place their orders. Whether it's a single rose or an extravagant bouquet, the message remains the same. Love beautifully expressed. Enyonam Haliga, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, it usually starts as a fairy tale romance and ends lonely ever after in betrayal and financial ruin. Across the country, romance scams are on the rise, with fraudsters preying on vulnerability, trust, and the desire to be loved. Grace Anwajima in this very report finds out how these scams work and how you can protect your heart and your wallet.
I'm thinking about how people fall in.
British musician Ed Sheeran said people find love in mysterious ways. It included finding love also online. Popular Nigerian gospel musician Moses Bliss tells the story of how he met his wife through a dance challenge on the internet, and now they are a family of 3.
I thank the Lord for bringing you my way.
That's not all. Popular media personality Bella Mundi also said it took just a DM from her husband. One thing led to another, and now they live happily ever after. But not all the online love stories end well because of scam. Year in and out, many fall victim to this, and Frimpoma is one of such.
We met on Facebook in 2019, and he sent me a friend request and I accepted it. So it was 3 days to my birthday, and on my birthday he came to wish me a happy birthday. And 2 weeks later, he proposed to me.
Few weeks into the relationship, it was one financial demand after the other.
Every 2 weeks he asked me, Ifya, please, can you lend me like 200 cedis? I will pay it back. So me, I thought, okay, a girlfriend is supporting a boyfriend, so I didn't bother to ask him for anything. And Mr. Ban said, "Ja, young girl, I'm at all for me. Hope pray me. Me just say me obiya obiya.
Then she realized she was scammed.
I cried. As me broken heart. So me swing sa me testina on fee me. Ain't baby ka cry bia na aseni boyfriend, then he will block me. And me issue be block me for 2 weeks. That was when I realized that I was scammed.
So I asked Reverend Francis Amo what will make someone want to be emotionally attached with a person they might not know or have not seen before.
When people's emotions are really invested into something, most often they stop thinking. Their cognitive ability just switches off. It's been nights and nights of video calls and online calls and all that. So trust is built over a period of time when there's some level of consistency in communication. Now, the moment people feel like they can trust another person, automatically they let their guard down.
Cybersecurity consultant Joshua Adai explains the psychology behind romance scam.
So when it comes to romance scam, it's a form of social engineering. And when it comes to social engineering, it's a technique that's used to manipulate people. And it runs on specific or a number of principles. So one of the principles you'd have is urgency. The person would ask you to do something for them urgently. And sometimes the person is an authority. So the person will say that, oh, I'm a CEO, I'm a police, I'm a compliance officer. So if you don't do it, you'd be penalized for it.
So what should people be looking out for in order not to be scammed?
So you'd want to take that conversation offline. But before you take that conversation offline, you'd want to confide in someone. You'd want to have a third person as much as possible go with you when you're meeting the person for the first time. Another thing you'd want to watch out for is when the person wants you to transfer money using encrypted channels, untraceable channels. Especially these days we have crypto, and never be shy to tell someone when you realize that you've been scammed. Don't try to deal with it by yourself.
In May 2025, 2 Ghanaian women aged 38 and 48 were rescued after falling victim to a romance scam that led to their kidnapping in Nigeria.
Hello, baby. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll send you the money right now. Yes, I love you too. I'm sending it right away. Okay, bye. Oh, well, this is how it starts. From sweet nothings to empty accounts. Online romance scams are leaving their victims not just heartbroken, but also financially drained. This Valentine's Day, the biggest red flag might not be the absence of love, but maybe the sudden urgent need for money, for property, or even your life. And experts say you must out. Grace Hamwajiman, TV3 News, Accra.
Oh, that was a good report of my colleague Grace Hamwajiman. So be on the lookout and ensure that you don't get yourself involved in romance scam. And away from that, are Ghanaians waiting longer before they say I do? Marriage is no longer the early milestone it once was for many Ghanaians, as more young adults delay trying the knot amid rising costs of living, longer years in school, and evolving ideas about family and independence. Recent population data suggests the average age at first marriage is on the rise, pointing to deeper social and economic changes influencing how and when people choose to get married. Nura Mohammed has more in the story.
Thousands of Ghanaians marry each year. Yet it seems that marriage, which was once seen as an early milestone in life, is now coming later for many young adults. Recent demographic data in 2022 shows that the median age at first marriage for women in Ghana has risen to about 21 to 22 years, up from below 19 in the late 1980s. Men, on average, are marrying even later, often in their late 20s or early 30s. For many young Ghanaian adults, the delay is not about choice alone, it is about affordability. From rent and utilities to food, transport, and the costs of a wedding itself, the rising cost of living is forcing many young Ghanaians to rethink when they are financially ready to marry. Some say although they wish to get married, love is no longer enough and argue that financial readiness and stability now comes first.
Now we are more looking into stability because in this time, everything is running with, everything goes with money. So if you don't have money to take care of your kids and give them a better future, they'll come back in the neighborhood and maybe they may not be in a good state to also help the nation.
They want to maybe enjoy their life a bit, and then when they're okay, then they can take up the ladder. I believe that's what's, pulling them to that side. We thought, marriage was everything. It was a key to every woman's life. But now you can see a lot of fulfilled women who are not married. And so it is not a prime thing anymore, though, to, force your child or a daughter to move into it.
Others also argue that the new age of women empowerment in terms of education and work ambitions has contributed to the delay.
Now you can see that women are more empowered. Back in the days, like a woman is more like a man's asset. So if I'm a rich man, maybe my auntie or my uncle gets me a younger girl, and then she becomes my asset, I bring her into my home. And then she's also comfortable with that, with maybe an older man marrying her and then providing for her financially, right? But that is shifting. Now girls are being more educated, they have their own money, they want to have the freedom to decide who they want to be married to. So that's a cultural, the cultural shift.
Education is also playing a role. With more young people spending longer years in school and pursuing careers, marriage is no longer rushed, especially in urban areas where the average age is even higher. A sociologist at the University of Ghana, Professor Peace Mamle Tete, says beyond economic factors, cohabitation is also a practice that has contributed to the rise in age of marriage.
The opportunity to engage in consensual unions, or what we popularly know as cohabitation, is also the reason why we are seeing this delay at the age of first marriage. So they can be in a consensual union for maybe 5-10 years. When they are in their 30s and they are sure, is when they would perhaps get married. When I was growing up, I felt, and nobody held a cane over my head, but I just felt that, it would be nice to get married. I want to get married. Speak to many young people these days. Marriage is not their immediate priority. I just came out of a gender class and I asked the young ladies in there, do you think that you want to get married? Is it your choice to make? And they said, yes, it's their choice to make.
While the overall age at marriage is rising, early marriage has not completely disappeared. A number of girls still marry before the age of 18, particularly in rural and economically disadvantaged communities, a stark reminder that albeit the age of marriage rises, child marriage is still very much prevalent. Yet, the broader picture suggests a paradigm shift. Marriage is no longer simply a cultural expectation associated with age, but a decision shaped by financial capabilities, education, and individual readiness. For many young Ghanaians, the question is no longer when they should marry, but whether they can afford to. Nura Mohammed, TV3 News, Accra.
Before we part company, Justice of the Supreme Court Philip Bright-Mensah has retired after 51 years of service to the judiciary. Justice Philip Bright-Mensah was appointed to the Supreme Court by President John Dramani Mahama in July 2025. The 70-year-old was serenaded by colleague justices of the Apex Court, judicial service staff, the Attorney General's office, and the family during the valedictory judgment ceremony held in his honor.
His career path encompassed a story of determination, hard work, humor, and grit. Justice Philip Bright-Mensah started working with the judiciary as a court recorder or typist and rose through the ranks of a registrar, district court judge, circuit court judge, chairman of a regional tribunal, high court judge, court of appeal judge before he was finally appointed as a Supreme Court judge in July 2025. Sharing remarks during his valedictorian judgment ceremony, Justice Philip Bright-Mensah cited an experience which he indicated shaped his career.
Was my lecturer, the best in the one time I went to her. I told her my God, and she scolded me. Now I understand that all those things happened to shape my life at that time. And even to the Secretariat Police, who locked me up in overnight. I said thank you. And that regular act rather helped my resolve to work more assiduously.
Justice Gabriel Scott Pamang, acting as Chief Justice, was full of praise for the works of the retiring judge.
Because of my job, work with Justice Bright, there's a nothing to be a man of quiet strength, humility, and ethics. He examples the truth that judicial authority is best exercised with restraint, and that the law speaks most powerfully when it's applied with wisdom and balance.
President of the Ghana Bar Association, Ifo Agati, described Justice Bright-Mensah as compassionate and intellectually disciplined.
His Lordship's judgments were marked by intellectual lucidity, principle, and an unquestioning awareness of the duty to do substantial justice. He balanced attentiveness to incident effectively with the practical realities of the dispute before the court.
On his part, President of the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAG, Samuel Afote Otu, noted that Justice Philip Bright-Mensah's tenure was inspiring.
I assure you, my Lord, that today we will indeed be reading in whole. And if you will never forget the immense contribution and the growth and success of the society.
Justice Philip Bright-Mensah ends his judicial journey after 28 years as a judge and 23 years as a judicial service worker, defining progression within Ghana's justice system. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, on that legal note, that's all time will permit us. As loving as it is, our producer, lawyer Dennis Parbury, has promised us bars of chocolate as part of Valentine's Day. We are grateful, sir. And also, if you're watching home, you're wondering what to give to your loved one, just think of King's Bite. One way we'll be helping in resolving the cocoa sector crisis. My name is Josh Quinn. For more news updates, just log on to our website, s3news.com. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Good afternoon.